Hello everyone and welcome to CLICHES channel. I'm here with Lyon Business School and we're going to be talking about the MSc Finance. In order to do so, I have the pleasure to welcome the academic director, Jean Pascal and one of his students, Ouda Belbzir. They are both here to answer my question, but first let's start with the pitch. And today is a new day because we're going to have a pitch by Ouda, the students of this program. Are you ready to tell us what we need to know, or introducing us to the MSc Finance?
Yes, of course.
Then
I'm excited to.
I'm listening to you then, Ouda. Tell me everything.
So, what is the MSc in Finance at Lyon Business School? It's a master's degree for 1.5 years that involves innovation, creativity, practicality, the theoretical approach as well, and international, because we have international studies at the end of the semester, where we either go to Bocconi or McGill or a study trip in London. So this master involves, as I said, practicality and theoretical approach, combining both through study cases, through technical data, through professors very expert professors that teach us these courses that come from various professionals, and also academic professors that give us their expertise and talk to us about the program, and also gives us their inputs. So there's this theoretical approach and practical approach, and the innovation, where it pushes us to go harder, to challenge our ideas, to challenge our knowledge. So this is the Masters in Finance at Lyon Business School.
All right, thank you very much. I guess you just gained 10 points on your next exam. But for now, how to apply? I don't know. It's just we'll see with Jean Pascal if he agrees with me. How to apply? Well, let's see with the admissions. So Jean Pascal, apart from being good at pitching, what are you looking for in your students?
Well, let's say, and it could be a little bit traditional, I would say, or conventional, you know, a minimum of knowledge, and maybe let me insist a little bit on math, because, why I insist on that, because we see that not only in market finance, but also in corporate finance, you need a minimum of rational to build your presentations, your arguments. So to answer to your question, it's not only pitching, it's only the ability to back with strong arguments and a strong rationale your demonstration in order to be able to sell it to your future clients wherever they are. All right. And what about, you mentioned math. Does it mean I need to be good at math? Yeah, well, we have, let's say, two main categories of students, or two main backgrounds. First, business in general, and most of them are coming with a 4 years bachelor or a master in management, in sometimes even in finance, but not necessarily the same specialty than those who are taught in the master. And the second part, approximately 1/4, a bit more than that, are coming from engineer tracks, because they are interested in market finance, but not only. And these profiles are very interesting because, first of all, you know, it's the question of the hybridation of backgrounds. So among the students' population is very interesting. And second, because banks, funds, etc., are always looking for special with a scientific background. All right. What was your background? Was it scientific? Was it business, manager? Tell me.
Well, interestingly enough, I did my bachelor's degree in Lyon Business School with a finance specialization on my 4th year, and then I decided to get into the Masters in Finance at Lyon.
Did you have to go through the digital test?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, so you had to do it twice, because I think for the bachelor as well, or?
No, for the bachelor, it was through Concours Sésame, through Parcoursup, where it was different tests, different everything.
All right.
Where we had an oral and also a writing test.
Okay, so and for the MSc then? For the
MSc, it was first of all, we had to drop our CVs, the transcript, and also a recommendation letter, and English tests, so it could be TOEFL, IELTS, or etc. And
does it really matter in the admission process?
The TOEFL test?
Yeah.
Or yes, it does, because all the courses are in English. So this TOEFL, IELTS, or any English proficiency exam is going to help the professors, the directors to choose the
right
students. Yes, of course.
I was mentioning the digital test. What is it made of? That's my question all the time, because digital test to me doesn't mean anything. So what does it mean according to emlyon and the MSc Finance?
So the digital test, it really looks like recruitment tests from what I saw. So first of all, we had this domino test where it was logical and aptitude tests, where we had a set of dominoes and we had to guess, I think on the third set or the second set, the last one, what would it be? So it's really logic.
Reasoning, logical.
Yeah, exactly. And then we had another test where we had some questions that were related to either finance, like fundamentals in finance, or our motivation, and we had to respond. We had a bit of time to prepare, and then we would respond to that.
And did you have like any, I don't know, management skills, like what would you do if you're in a group of X people, or how would you react to that kind of things, or not at all?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, you just reminded me, there's another part of the test where we would be, for example, pretending to be a professional in the company, and we would be the manager, and we would be put in different types of situations and how we would be dealing with them. So either in group settings or taking decisions, etc. So that's another part of the test.
Jean Pascal, as the academic director, what could you tell someone watching now, tips you could give them, something they could do to improve or to have a better chances that you accept their application?
Well, I will not comment too much on tests, because I think, tests are tests, and most of the students are able to train on different platforms. So, of course, it matters for sure, because there is at the end a grading scheme giving us some informations about the ability to work in group, about the way he is thinking, etc., etc. But what is the most important for us is, to make sure that there is a real project behind the application, because finance is, of course, always, attractive. It sounds interesting, this is a good way to make a lot of money, why not, etc., etc. But behind that, there are businesses, and behind these businesses, apart from the technical part, this is also the question of being able to match with your own personal project.
All right, a good way to make a lot of money. That would be a hell of a cliche. And for the other ones, well, let's move on to the cliches. Cliches are ideas, preconceptions that we might have had regarding finance. You mentioned one regarding emlyon Business School, maybe, I don't know. Regarding an MSc, anything that comes to your mind, what would be the cliche that comes to your mind, Jean Pascal?
Well, let me send back your ball.
All right.
The one related to what's finance about. Because generally and specifically as far as masters in finance are concerned, and specifically market finance, people imagine, a trader like the Wolf of Wall Street.
I do.
Sniffing cocaine. Sorry. Trying to find a lot of motivation, strong motivation, in order to rob literally people. But finance has definitely changed over the last couple of years. Ethic has made a strong comeback. There are, of course, concerns about environment, about, equity, and I'm talking here about, the real life, not a pure concept. And that's why I think businesses in finance are changing. And this is not only a question of making money, but also the question behind that is why, and maybe for who.
And responsibly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uda, what would be your cliche?
Yeah, so my cliche before joining this master's, I thought that it was more of, we would be focusing on the numbers. But when I went into the master's, I discovered it was much more than that. We went more beyond. It was more of gaining the context of, for example, the company, its industry. So I think it's more than the numbers at the end of it. And we really had to delve deeper to understand the the whole story, to gain the whole story.
So it's not just about math and numbers and Excel?
Exactly,
It's why finance, philosophically, basically, philosophical approach as well, or a responsibility like Jean Pascal was mentioning?
Yes, but it's specifically to gain the whole story, to understand the specificities and really to give meaning to numbers.
Do you have a specific courses that you have in mind?
Yes, exactly. So we just finished a course, Financial Diagnosis and Forecasting, and it was a quite challenging course. It was, we had the group works where we would have cases, so it was very practical. We had cases about companies that we had to analyze and also try to understand their strategy, their business model, etc., their value drivers of growth, and just to find the meaning behind the numbers. And that really made me discover that, you know, it's not only just about numbers, but more than that.
So finance and numbers have a meaning. Now we know it. And what do we do concretely inside the MSc Finance? Sorry, well, let's discover. Very basic questions. MSc Finance, many MSCs have that names. MSc Finance, like say, finance about dreaming. Why is the one you're teaching, the one you are representing, different from any other ones?
Maybe 2 points in order to make it short.
We have time.
Yeah, but first we have a vision of the business that is to not to specialize people too much, you know, because we are training them for their whole entire professional life. And we believe that this specific period will make them very good professionals, but also will give them the ability to adapt, because they will probably change 10 times, maybe not 10 times, but at least 5 times of job during their professional life. So first. Second, as all masters, I would say, we try to combine academic and professional content. So both are delivered by academics on one hand and professional on the other hand. On the back of my professional experience, I am sure that now that academic makes sense, you know, and you always need to keep an eye on what academic is behind the tool you are using every day. But on the top of that, I think that what is more important is to give the opportunity to the students to be hands-on, i.e. to test as long as they want, i.e. as long as they are committed to and interested to test that. So that's why we have developed a couple of challenges. They are extracurricular. They are not within the program strictly said, but and they are on application. But to give you, some of them are pretty obvious, like CFA challenge and so on. Some are tailor-made. We are currently developing a challenge with a large consulting firm dedicated to our students to work on specific M&A cases. Okay, so that's a question of engagement, I would say. That's a question of interest and the question of, you know, transposing what they've learned during the course to reality, apart from the business case they train upon.
So not like that, so there's a common track, and even though it's not too specialized, still we have the opportunity to go to corporate finance and innovation or market and quantitative. Do we still have those two options?
Yep.
Which one are you going to choose?
Corporate finance.
Why?
Yes. Well, because I'm interested into mergers and acquisitions, so that would be the best way, because we really have courses regarding financial modeling, financial analysis, and due diligence, corporate valuation. So these really prepare me to get into that job and to get prepared for that type of profession. So.
When I think of finance, I think of New York, I think of Paris. And why is Lyon a good city for finance?
That's a cliche, isn't it?
It's a pretty big cliche. I was going to say apart from the campus, but you will talk to me about it later.
Okay.
Well, first of all, emlyon is, as EDEC, a non-Paris business school. Then, in terms of genes, if we make a difference between emlyon and the other competitors, I think that probably finance is at a crossroad with what is really at the core of emlyon, that is entrepreneurship. So what we try to educate finally at the end of these programs all together are entrepreneurs. But behind that, we know that jobs are jobs, and you know, as long as you are looking for corporate banker, you are looking for somebody who is mastering perfectly the key financial concepts of his industry. But entrepreneur is more than just a word. I think it's a way to behave. You know, typically not being too much risk adverse.
Yeah, for sure.
And never forget that emlyon is not only Lyon based, but has other campuses, one in Paris, another one or two in India, another in China. So in that way, you know, we enlarge a little bit our horizon. And as Huda said at the beginning, and specifically for the program, we are progressively rolling out partnership strategy, sorry, providing our students the opportunity to go to the campuses of some international
and renowned
partners, and so far Bocconi in Milan and McGill in Canada, and this list will progressively increase as long as we are discussing with a couple of other ones.
All right. Do you know where you want to go?
Yes.
Where?
I received the decision from the directors, and I'm going to Bocconi in Milan.
That's pretty good news, isn't it?
Yes, yes. It's a very good surprise.
And what made you choose Bocconi specifically?
Well, I was hesitating between McGill and Bocconi. I really wanted an experience, an international experience, and I talked with alumni from the school to see what they chose and why they chose it, and they really told me that their experience at at Bocconi was it was very insightful, and it was a nice experience, and that's what made me choose it.
All right, and the gastronomy as well.
Yeah, of course, we can. Yeah.
What has surprised you the most since you've been accepted into this MSc?
Well, first of all, many things. First of all, we had the chance to start with the common track, and then we, as you mentioned earlier, we had the difference to choose between the corporate and the market finance. But the thing that really surprised me the most was discovering the different jobs and really delving deeper into finance, because as I said earlier, I had a bachelor's degree at Lyon, where I was specialized in finance in the last year, but I really didn't go very deep in it. And for example, I didn't really know all the different kind of jobs that there is, and also really delve into the technicalities of the finance industry. And I think this master has been helping me with that a lot. So.
We mentioned the campus. I mean, obviously it was not Lyon or New York or Paris, it's emlyon Business School, basically.
Yes.
That's the interest of it, of the whole of it. And there's a new campus there.
Yes, of course.
What has changed? Is that like really different? It's just like new, but kind of not new?
No, it is new, and it's very close to the center of Lyon, which is very nice compared to the old campus, which was a bit farther. So it's a nice campus. It was very different from the campus that I was in the bachelor's degree. So it's interesting to be there. It's nice.
What's the word that you've heard the most since you've entered this MSc?
The word?
Yes.
M&A.
M&A?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Why M&A? Why is the word you keep being pronounced? Maybe that's the one.
Remember another word. Your mission is commission.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So as long as you work for M&A teams, your mission is commission. That's why.
It is. It makes sense. That's
if I may add a couple of things about M&A. M&A is probably one of the, you have two dream jobs in finance: M&A and trading.
True.
Market finance on one hand, corporate finance. You are the head of M&A at, let's say, Goldman Sachs, and you are, working on multi-billion dollars deals combining giant companies and so on. So that's a sort of cliche once again, but
a true one.
Yeah, exactly. But that's just like football, huh? many attendees or a lot of expectations and only a few who are effectively selected on the top of the pyramid. So it's very demanding. It needs a lot of job to be a little bit lucky also. And maybe something we have not mentioned before, and that's very important. M&A depends also on your ability to make a deal, i.e. to convince people that you are the right getaway, the right path-through between two companies, two people, two shareholders, whatever. So it's a contact job, and even if we spend a lot of time on Teams or Zoom, at the end, you know, shaking hands is also a good way to close a deal. Never forget that. and connection with people is very important. So M&A is on that way very rich and still very, you know, impressive and leaving students dream about something that is incredible. But, you know, challenge is challenge. So only happy few should be selected, and specifically during this time because, you know, the industry is coping with some cyclical headwinds, and that's probably the reason why it's a bit more selective than ever.
Is there an advice you wish you could have given yourself before entering?
Before entering?
Yeah, okay. At the beginning of the year, if you could like go back in time.
Okay, that's an interesting question. So when I think about an advice that I could give myself, it would be just, for example, the way that I manage my time. For example, course-related, etc. Because the Masters in Finance is an intensive program, and it's really important to know how to manage your time, how to manage the different courses, etc., and how to prepare for them. And yeah, I think it would be time management, and it would make a great difference.
Time management is key. Remember that for the one who are going to apply next year. But what do you do once you've graduated? Let's discover it. Sorry, through after. Before we talk about your career, can you name one thing that you've learned during this MSc that you will carry on for the rest of your career?
One thing.
I'm sure many things apply, but like one thing that really comes, you know, strikes your mind. Okay,
I think it's challenging myself. I think that's a big word, but I feel like this master's degree has been helping me a lot to, in many ways, to challenge myself. For example, to do things that I wouldn't have really done it before. For example, just let's take a course, for example, in finance, financial diagnosis, as I talked about earlier. It was really a way that challenged me to look for information, also just make sense of numbers and communicate these numbers and give an image of that. So I think that's also something that's made me challenge myself, and yeah, I think it's just also thinking outside of the box. So for example, we have a set of tools, but maybe there's other ways to do it, and that is not obvious in the first place, but the more you think about it, the more you reach out, for example, also to the different people, you would get answers. So I think that's
a good I mean, a good lesson that you will carry with you. Same goes for you, Jean Pascal. A bit different though, because you've had a long career in finance. Could you just introduce us to us, just so that you support my words?
Yeah, well, this is my third career, in fact. The first one was in the corporate finance, because I was managing, you know, finance teams internally, audit, internal control, CFO of a mid-sized company, and so on. And then I moved to market finance, and I spent something like 25 years there. And since 10 years now, I am in education, but not far from finance at the end.
And so, which advice maybe you give your students, or you wish you could have given yourself, the same question I asked Uda, for someone who's going to start working in finance today?
Probably what I said at the beginning. I don't know if you remember, but what I said at the beginning, for me, the most important thing is be curious. Be curious, and I would add a little bit patient, because, you know, the current format of 90 seconds on TikTok is definitely not the best way to take time to think about a problem and to try to find the smartest way to fix it. Because finally, you know, what people, I mean, what clients tomorrow will wait from their advisors are good ideas. And at least what I've learned during my long professional life is if you have at least one good idea a year, it's far enough.
Okay. Apart from M&A and trading, what can I do afterwards?
M&A and trading. No, what I would say, I mean, on the corporate side, the most general word to describe the future jobs is advisory. So you are here to advise clients in finance. So you can be a senior banker, you can be effectively an M&A manager, you can be in charge of, you know, giving general advice about financial strategy of company, etc., etc. I don't want to go too far in complex definitions of specific jobs, but this is the idea, advisors, okay? On the other side, you advise as well, but it's more technical, or you can also work on the development of original products, you know, tailor-made financial products. It's another way to advise, but it's more technique because based on products. And if you are definitely ready to be the Wolf of Wall Street, then you will be able to convince one investor to put in your hands $1 billion and promise him that you will return every year 25%. That's it.
Sounds like good skills to have in life. Apart from being curious and patient, what are you expecting from your students, from your alumni, more than your students?
Well, alumni is, I would say, or stay in contact with not only your school, but also the current students. Networking is probably one of the key of success of the business schools compared to other education paths. And it 100% rely on alumni, and we are effectively doing our best to organize meetings with alumni, not only in Paris but also in London, to make sure that we can keep the contact very close between our students today and the one who can show them the way they can take and the biggest errors they can avoid.
One last question, and not the easiest one. Uda, why is Jean Pascal a good program director? Why is he a good academic director?
Yes, of course. That's okay. So there's many things. First of all, I think that Mr. Jean Pascal is someone with a lot of knowledge, and we can see this just from the few conversations that you can have with him. I think that he's a person that can bring a lot to the table in the conversations. Like, for example, every conversation that I had with him, I would come out learning some new things. So I think that's the main thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very important thing to have, knowledge when you're an academic director. We still have a bit of time before concluding this interview. We have extra time. Extra time is about maybe things we haven't said already, maybe things we want to emphasize, or anything that comes to your mind. Mm-hmm. Uda, what would be your conclusion?
Yes, so for the conclusion, I think from the beginning that I started this master's degree until now, and it's going to continue forward, I think that I've been learning a lot about finance, about all the specificities, about the technicalities as well. And I think that I will be continuing to learn it as well. And I think that this master has been a great way for me to achieve this. So,
thank you so much, Jean Pascal.
Well, I would say I will talk 5 minutes about ambition. Okay, ambition as a program director of this program. So the ambition is, and that's true for I think all the schools, to prepare the best our students to their future professional life and give them all what they need to be perfectly equipped, not only for the first 2 years, but for the next 10, 15 years, and then they will probably have to train again because the world is changing very fast. Indeed. But they will know that they have to adapt, and they can adapt. First. Second, you know, and we are not an exception. I mean, this program is an exception, but students rely on the brand and what the brand brings them for their professional life. And we are doing a lot, and we are investing a lot in developing the brand and the reach of this brand. And this is very important, not only from a national point of view, but also for an international point of view, even if it's becoming a little bit more difficult now to try to find a job out of Europe, including the UK. True. So that's challenging, and that's probably one of the other challenges we have to cope with in the coming years. And last but not least, I think that, you know, it's always important to keep a very good spirit, generally speaking, when you are joining such a program. This is a sort of community, and this community has not only to rely on its alumni and, let's say, close environment, but also on itself, and make sure that the mood within the community is positive, good, and I would say very well oriented.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks to the two of you for answering all of my questions. In a nutshell, an outstanding program combining technical skills and soft skills and a responsible approach for a career in investment banking. If that's what you want, MSc Finance, Lyon Business School. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon.